Vitalina Zinotka says she'll never forget the day Russian soldiers first appeared on her street.
We saw them approaching from our basement through a crack in the window.
Zinotka, her husband, 2 sons and mother are from Ukraine's southern city of Kherson. On March 11th, 9 days after seizing control of Kherson, Russian troops started fanning out to outlying villages like Zinotka's.
They came into our house with their machine guns and they didn't even bother to take their shoes off.
Zinotka told CBN News that the men were drunk and started intimidating her husband and 18-year-old son.
I felt like my heart was being squeezed. It felt like my soul was being squeezed. And it was even very hard to breathe because I was so fearful.
She slipped into an adjacent room where her mother and 13-year-old son were and whispered to them to pray.
I told my mom to pray that God would rescue us.
The Russians demanded to see their passports.
They were looking at our documents and trying to make sense of them, but they couldn't because they were drunk.
Zinotka says their desperate prayers were suddenly answered.
They were still walking around the house, pointing their guns at us, and praise God, they just left.
Zinotka and her husband escaped this past Saturday under heavy fire as Ukrainian forces attempted to retake Kherson. They headed west from Kherson to Ternopil, where CBN's Orphans Promise runs this training center for children, now converted to house fleeing refugees.
We are truly thankful for them hosting us. It's very comfortable. It's a very warm atmosphere. We were fed well. It's an amazing work that they are doing.
The staff at Ternopil Training Center began gathering supplies within hours of war erupting.
It started with us bringing our own mattresses from home. We had 6 to start with, and were ready to host 10 people. The next day, we received more mattresses, and we were ready to host another 35 refugees.
Orphans Promise bought this 2-story building in 2014 with the goal of reaching children and their families with the gospel. They would hold English classes Monday through Thursday and teach Bible lessons using CBN Superbook on Friday. Some 230 children and young adults showed up every week.
We would teach them about God's law and the meaning of Christ's coming and resurrection.
War has the students now taking classes online. Staff members also hold regular online prayer meetings and counseling sessions when needed.
The fact that we can continue these lessons online brings peace to both us and them.
As refugees poured in, neighbors who lived around the Orphans Promise Center started pitching in. Some cooked, others brought supplies. Parents with children at the center also got involved.
We united in the cause of helping people, serving people, because they have needs.
The city of Ternopil here in the western part of Ukraine has been sort of a rest stop for those who are making their way out of the country. And according to the latest statistics from the center, they say that close to about 600 people have passed through their doors since the start of the war. The majority of those, like 17-year-old Anastasia, staying at the Orphans Promise Center for a night or two. She fled from Sumy, northeast of Kyiv, where Ukrainian forces are launching fierce counterattacks against Russian forces.
I hope I will wake up from this nightmare soon and it will be all over.
Zinotka's family heads further west in the morning to stay with friends.
Staying here is an example of how Ukraine has become one family.
Yet there's no place she'd rather be than home.
I really want to go back, but I'm afraid. It would be very painful because everything is destroyed and I don't know if I can handle that right now.
George Thomas, CBN News, Ternopil, Ukraine.